Good morning, everyone. My name is Jeff Shipman. I am the president and CEO of Heartline Fitness, and this is our bi-weekly webinar, which we identify industry trends in the fitness industry and updates. And this week we are obviously focusing in on the Chicago market and some interesting things happening with opening, closing, and in our reach of the territory that we cover. Obviously, Chicago is a region for us, but we also are Maine to Miami, up and down the East Coast. And everybody's a little different, to be honest with you. So today we really wanted to focus in on Chicago, and I think the time is perfect for that. I have three experts with me today. Dan Green is the president of our Midwest region. Welcome, Dan. And then I also have Dan Hubner, and Dan is our technical sales director. These two gentlemen have been in this industry a very long time, longer than me. So I'm very excited to have them here and help me just communicate some of the things that I know are impactful and resourceful for the Chicago market. So without any further ado, we'll dive right in. So, the topic today was activating Chicago, and what does that mean, right? We've seen up and down the East Coast in the Chicago market, shutdowns, reopens. There's a variety of people doing different things, obviously. And how has Heartline responded to that in our different markets where we've found the ability to support our clients, our end users, and make an impact is really starting with an amenity assessment. So when we look at what needs to be done to ensure that a fitness center is safe and can reopen and stay open, Heartline has put a very valuable tool together called the Amenity Assessment. It's where we start, whether we're curating an experience through design, product, equipment, or we're providing services such as preventative maintenance, service repair, disinfect and protect on the products, or even coming into your facility. We have a very unique technology through Atmosair that actively disinfects and attacks the air and the surfaces in your fitness space or any of your amenity spaces. And quite frankly, full buildings we've been able to roll up. So a lot of exciting things to kind of talk about today. But again, I think it's perfect timing what's going on in the Chicago market very recently. And where does Heartline start to address these things? So I'm going to talk a little bit about amenity assessments just to give you a brief overview of, what does this mean? It's not a typical assessment. We're covering industry trends. We're covering what you should actually do, how you can actually do this. But at the center of what our amenity assessment focus is, let's just say the why, right? Why would you even do this assessment? And it may seem easy to understand, right? You need to assess for budget, you need to assess for activation, you need to assess that it's safe. All that boils down, and especially in our multifamily and vertical properties, is we're trying to create community, right? We're trying to provide a lifestyle. Obviously with fitness, there's health, there's wellness, there's physical fitness type things through the equipment that can be provided. But at the end of the day, the fitness center is the number one amenity. And that impact that fitness center can have on the community and the lifestyle really is, that's what everybody's starving for, right? We're all sick of being inside and at home, or, things that have changed because of COVID. That social engagement, we're all craving it. So how do we do that during this period? And how do we get ready for what's the future going to look like, right? What is the new norm, and what are those demands once we can reopen up? So the why of our amenity assessments really is focused in on lifestyle and community, property value, retention for you, return on your investment, and meeting the demands. And I've said this several times when we've opened up New Jersey and New York City on the East Coast, is if you've had a good fitness center in the past, fantastic, right? What COVID has brought forward for us in the fitness industry is good's really not good enough anymore, right? And great, probably not great enough, right? You're going to have an exceptional amenity, especially in the fitness environment, because of the shutdowns and some of the other things that are going on in the commercial side of fitness, right? There's more pressure to have an exceptional amenity space because of things being shut down. There's more pressure to have this exceptional because the pool of renters, right, is diminishing. Money is very cheap to go buy a house right now. So when we're looking to rent, and this is one of your amenity spaces, obviously, right? Can't just be good, right? You've got to beat out all the competition for that smaller pool of renters that's out there. And then really to speak to, condos and ownership, having a return on your investment, fitness is a focal point right now. So ensuring that you have an exceptional amenity space to gain that return on your investment and be the property that everyone wants to live here because the amenities are so great and I feel safe and invited even during this trying time of the pandemic. So I'm going to review the why, the what, and the how in our assessments, but these are the things that we're focused on. Okay, so quickly, this is about a 30-page document, and I've laid out a couple dozen here. I'm not going to run through all of them, but we obviously have a cover page, table of contents. You kind of saw the lifestyle image. Every market's a little bit different, right? CDC is consistent, but local and state mandates obviously are changing. So we accommodate that in our assessments to kind of mold this so you understand a little bit more of what needs to happen for your specific amenity space to reopen, to redesign it. If you've got, HVAC and filtration type considerations that have to be reviewed, we are doing that in our assessment. The other key points that you're getting here, and you can see in the last 3 pages here, we're looking at your layout, right? So physical distancing is a necessity in your fitness center. This needs to be relayed out and your demographic needs to be looked at so that you don't remove the wrong pieces, right? And you do it in a way that people aren't colliding as they walk down aisleways. You don't have a waiting area behind people that is uncomfortable for the user that's on there. Placement of gym wipes, hand sanitizers, signage so people understand the whys and the whats. Things have changed in the fitness center. All this stuff is important so that you can communicate properly to the end users. And again, we want this to feel safe. We want it to feel inviting, right? You don't want it to feel like, oh, I'll call it a war zone, right? And you've got the yellow tape all over everything. Don't use this machine. I've seen it. It's not what we're recommending. We want people to maintain, this routine of a healthy lifestyle, getting the exercise and the benefits from exercise. So having a professional come in and assess your space and provide a new layout during this time is extremely important. Don't wing it on your own. Promise you, it won't work out as well. From that, we're obviously looking at the assets that you have. So we're going to document specific pieces and the why we may be reviewing it or organizing things differently. We can also make recommendations. It is budget season, right? So if there's things, again, you're good, you're great, you need to get to exceptional, we know the industry trends, right? We know where you can make some small adjustments or large adjustments, right, to get the most impact. If you're already open or you're planning on reopening, now's the best time to look at all of that. A few more pages here. So again, a continuation of the assessment and the recommendations, and we obviously take pictures of your facility. We go into some statistics on, how to get a return on your investment. You will have actionable items. So at the end of our assessment, we're going to specifically tell you, here's what you need to do, right? And it could be, here's what you need to do to reopen. Here's what you need to do to kind of raise the bar a little bit based on some of the competition you have in the area. And, obviously all the CDC reopening, local, mandates, things like that. will all come into play so that you can operate. In New York City, just for example, um, you basically had to pass an inspection to be able to open. So we've done hundreds of these in New York City already. This has been a critical piece for New York City to open up successfully and pass all those inspections with fitness centers, whether they're commercial or they're a residential component amenity fitness center. So again, utilizing our assessment for reopening or budget season. The last few pages here, again, there's only 5 here. I think we probably have 15 or more. But we want to talk about trends, niche products, things that we're seeing in the industry that you need to be educated on, right? The fitness center is constantly evolving for us. It's not just new product, but we're raising the bar, right? When you look at amenity spaces, and we've literally done 400 square foot fitness centers up to 125,000 square feet of amenity space that just has everything you could possibly imagine in it. So call it the amenity wars, but this document is going to provide a lot of that information as far as trends, niche products, going into pools, spas, programming, virtual content. We're trying to educate you with here's what's going on in what fitness and an amenities activation looks like for the future. So I talked about the must-dos. You'll have a specific sheet on this. You will have an executive summary in the end. So we started off kind of talking about the why, the what, and the how. We will summarize the why. Why are you doing this? What do you specifically need to do? And how are you going to accomplish that? So you have a customized assessment for you, focusing on the why, the what, and the how. And folks, really, this has been critical for us in helping a lot of different clients and a lot of different demographics successfully, deal with what is a challenging space, challenging wearing masks, challenging wearing, the right clothing in gyms, the right equipment, and keeping this environment safe. So I'm going to flip it over here to Dan Green. He's our president in the Chicago market. Chicago's my kind of town, Dan. It's all, and the show is yours.
All right. Thanks a lot. Well, it's been interesting. Over the last probably 3 to 4 weeks, we've been out doing assessments. And I guess I'm going to come up to your why. And I position the why as identifying their problem. A lot of times, everybody's on a spectrum. They're not in the same place. I have some amenity spaces that are fully open. They've put in the proper procedures to have, they've limited the occupancy, they have wipes positioned, they've spaced the equipment out. They've done everything they can do. They just want to verify that they're not missing anything. On the other end of the spectrum, I have amenity fitness centers that haven't touched that room in 4 months. And they're all kind of in the same boat. They're going, hey, we don't know what to do. So what they're looking for is an expert to come in and help them either explain that plan, give them the what. So what we've been doing is going out and doing the assessments. We got a little loop thrown in the plans last night. Our Governor Pritzker decided to shut things down, regress in the phase for another 14 days. So I don't think it's affected anything but restaurants and bars right now and public gatherings. So I'm not sure how that's going to affect just the amenity fitness space. But for the next 14 days, they're pulling back into phase 2, I believe. But I don't think that's going to affect anything that we're doing. I mean, we're trying to set this up so when we get back and give you the confidence and your residents the confidence and the board the confidence that we're doing everything that we can do to have the amenity space an asset back functioning and as safe as we can make it, so to mitigate the risk. So CDC, they just came on this morning. They're still saying, hey, the most important thing you can do is hand washing, social distancing, wearing a mask anytime you're in public. What we're saying is, let us come in, let's create the plan. The why is the problem that we have right now is the uncertainty of what we need to do. And I think my hat's off to Heartline and Jeff, because when we first came into this, they spent a lot of time and money and effort finding the solutions to help us through this. And it's not one thing. We have a bundle of about 9 things. And my hat's off to Jeff and Heartline for being able to do that from the very beginning. So we spent a lot of time prior to this, so we're prepared for it now, making pulling in the right products, pulling in the right procedures, bundling them together so you have a package that we can confidently come out. And if you apply all of it, you're 99.9% COVID free in your room in about 30 minutes. So it's about as safe as you can get. Then we're going to help you prepare that, and then it's up to you to present that and execute that for the board and the residents. We've had some really good success. We've had some clients that have come in and they're from zero. So we basically went out and walked them through the whole process. We've had some clients and customers come in that have executed this plan, and they just want to verify that they're doing everything that they can do. Basically they're mitigating as much risk as possible, so the board and the residents are feel that they're walking into a healthy environment. We do look at the layout, we look at the flow, and through the assessment, when we bring that back to you and walk you through that, I think it gives you the confidence that you can open up your fitness center when the time's right, that the board will be confident that they are doing everything they can do to mitigate the risk for their residents. So it's been pretty interesting. I just spoke to one of the trainers at the East Bank Club. They've done this. They had 6 experts come in. They went through their facility, and they are ready to open. Actually, they've been open, and it's 99.9, 99.6, I believe, percent COVID free. And they're going to have to shut down for the 14 days coming up too. But like they said, they've done everything they can do to provide the safest environment that they can. That's all we can do.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Dan.
Welcome.
So just a couple white pages and flyers that we have that we're happy to share and send out, and Dan has these in his toolbox. But just I think they establish a little bit more detail on what we're actually doing and how we're packaging that together. So we put some, we've always done preventative maintenance, service, repairs, warranty. But as Dan mentioned, as we came into COVID, the light bulb that went on with me is, I immediately was not an essential service. And how can I become an essential service? So we quickly, through some of our partnerships and parent companies, I realized we need to get into not the janitorial business, but somehow disinfecting and protecting. And that's what basically stuck here with this program is, how do we apply something to the equipment that kills COVID, right? And helps prevent it or protect the equipment and the surfaces for a period of time. So we've been able to put that together, and it's been extremely popular right now. The demand for renewals and what's my PM price going to be next year is we're writing a lot of renewals. But packaging those two together is significant. And what I looked for in designing this program early on was, one, we wanted to get back to work and get our techs out and help people. But two, I think there's something that we should have been doing this all along, right? So a little bit of shame on us in the industry, and some of this stuff with protection, I've seen it fly, years ago through other manufacturers and vendors. But the protection part of this is significant. You got a lot of germs and a lot of smelly things and sweat and stuff like that going on in the fitness center. And besides COVID, there's a lot of ugly little monsters that can grow on things in little dark spaces in the fitness centers. And this type of solution combined with preventative maintenance, it goes hand in hand. So I really see this as the norm and an offering that should have been in place all along, and we intend to stick with it even outside of COVID. So if you're not aware of this, how we're packaging this together, obviously Dan is here for you, but when you're looking to establish preventative maintenance, possibly a renewal, it's extremely important that you look at disinfection and protection. We've made it very cost effective to do this versus what it may cost you to have, a maintenance crew come in and keep up with possibly a local mandate of cleaning, right? And the frequency of that. Um, so great bundling and package here with preventative maintenance and disinfect and protect. Um, the last little page here, and I'm going to spin this off to Dan Hubner, who is our technical sales director. We also came across an extremely popular, it's become very popular because of COVID and because of the recent claims they're able to make. But on the lines of disinfecting and protecting people from, the transfer or contracting COVID, we came across a technology that, basically seeks and destroys COVID actively through the HVA system. And I won't steal any more of Dan's thunder here, but I think this is another one of the things that, as we've packaged this together and we've looked at so many different, offerings and things that we could have done, you package all this together and like you will have that exceptional fitness center. You will create, an inviting, an environment that feels safe to people. You can see it. We can, provide placards. Here's the last time we disinfect and protected. You can monitor on the wall what the quality of the air is. These things are extremely important right now so that people feel okay, right? That's the big thing. We've all been scared or we're still scared, right? And we're missing the social piece. We're missing our fitness. We got to do this right. It has to be exceptional. It's not just about the latest and greatest treadmill and the little screen and app and all that other stuff. It's the whole piece. So Dan, I'm going to flip to the next slide, and you could tell us a little bit more about Atmos Air and bipolar ionization.
Thank you, Jim. So Atmos Air has actually had this technology since 2008. And they've been out there working to reduce mold, reduce particulates, reduce VOCs, and improve air quality, for over a decade. Obviously, COVID has put a bright line around this, and we're all focused on better indoor air quality now. And it's bipolar ionization technology, and so why do we want that, and how does it work? The bipolar ions, if you look at this little spiky ball, which we've all become too familiar with, they call them hydroxy radicals. You'll see on one side of the screen oxygen and hydrogen, and the O2 is going to come in with a double negative, and the hydrogen is a single positive. So you have a charged particle, and charged particles will seek out other particles and attach to them. And that's exactly what's happening here. The OH radicals are attaching to the cell wall of the virus, and it removes a hydrogen. It essentially perforates it, and it inactivates the virus. So this is what's going on. That's how it works with regards, at least, to the virus. The key and the most important thing, Jeff touched on this, is that it comes in through the supply side of your HVAC and is introduced into the room, throughout the room. And it's actively working in the space to not only deactivate virus potentially in the air, and this is tested. They have tested on both impermeable and permeable surfaces, specifically things like the the impermeable surface would be similar to the treadmill control monitor. The permeable surface that they used actually was a face mask. So we know that it's active in the air, and it's actively treating the surfaces in the room continuously. So how has it been tested? It's been tested by Microchem Labs. We have a test on coronavirus 239 from this summer, and more recently on the face mask in September. So we're not only showing you here how it works, but we're also proving that it's been tested. So if you can go to the next slide, Jeff. It's working not only on coronavirus, which is the one we're interested in primarily right now, but it's also working on those other things that Jeff brought up. It works on other pathogens, bacteria. It also works on mold. So that's going to, and it also works on airborne allergens. So this is going to be something that is working in your locker rooms. It's working in your facility, and it's agglomerating onto these, pulling them out of the air and neutralizing them. So the end result is you're going to have air that is clean, and it's going to smell fresh, and people are going to be able to actually enjoy that in the facility and notice it. So if we go to the next slide, Jeff, that would be great. Thank you. So we've shown that how it works in theory. We've shown that there's testing proving that it works, but it's also been proven in the field. Again, as I say, this has been out there, for over a decade. They have literally thousands of installations, and many of them very similar to yours. Now, these are some big ones, but this solution is scalable. It could work from a small fitness room, 400, 800 square feet up, to an entire building. They have a good solution for you, no matter how you choose to approach it. The other thing that Atmos Air is particularly notable for is they did come out of the indoor air quality testing business. And so they're about the only company out there that will actually provide you with a monitor that you can put in the room that shows that the air is being treated. It's inexpensive. You put it up on the wall. You and your clients or your tenants can actually see the improvement that you've been getting from having installed the Atmos Air 24/7. They even have an app so that you could monitor that for multiple properties from your phone. So I think that's, in summary, we've shown you how it works. We have the testing to prove it. We have test cases in the field, and we have monitoring available for you to see how it's doing in your facility. And that's, I think, what we can say about Atmos Air for you today. And happy to answer any questions through Dan.
Great. Awesome. Thank you, Dan. So I'm going to flip back to Dan Green again, just in summary, because we've covered amenity assessments. Well, Dan, I'll let you cover the summary instead of me.
Okay. I wanted to jump back just to one thing, because it's come up. The question I get is, like, what sets you guys apart from anybody else, and what do you do that we can't do? I'm going to go back to what Jeff did 3 months ago. We ended up sourcing FDA and chemicals that are approved by the FDA and the manufacturers, which is important for the chemicals that we are using. So they're FDA approved, and they're safe, and they're not going to damage your equipment. One of the things that I started seeing when I was going out to on-site assessments is they're using bleach, they're using peroxide, they're using all kinds of stuff. And they said, why would we, can we just keep doing this? And I said, well, you're going to damage your equipment. Some of that stuff, your computers and the touch screens are very, there's a lot of metal in it. And when you start putting anything that's corrosive on it and it gets inside of it, you're going to damage your equipment. So one of the things that we've done is we have sourced and we use the correct chemicals. The other thing that we've done that set us apart from a lot of people, specifically in the fitness room, is we do have a certification for our application. So all of our guys that are technicians that are applying the chemicals have been certified. And then the last thing we could do, Jeff, that I'd like you to talk on just for a minute, and you can comment on any of this stuff, is we actually went out and got the insurance to actually cover that application, which I don't know that anybody else in the fitness industry is doing that right now. So those three things alone right now set us apart from probably 95% of the people that are doing what we're doing in the fitness area. And it's not just one. I want to go back and reiterate it. It's not just any one of these things that we're doing. I mean, anybody can go wipe a machine down with 2XL wipes. That's great. But we're doing much more than that. And the other question the clients are having is like, okay, so if you're doing that, what do we need to do? And it's not one or the other. It is both. Like, we can't be in there every day wiping your machines down. You do need to have your own staff cleaning stuff, probably twice a day. And you need to have everything set up so the individual users can clean, wipe down a piece of equipment before they use it and after they use it. So it's not just one or the other. That's Jeff. Would you want to comment on that?
No, I think what you're saying is actually huge. It's actually a whole nother webinar, but I do want to take a minute to just elaborate on it. So in our preventative maintenance and disinfect and protect bundling and package, we really talk about a 1, 2, 3 step approach, right? So we want a preventative maintenance done first. Let's get all the crud and dust and all that stuff out, because you can't truly disinfect a surface if there's buildup on it, right? So the PM really needs to be done, one, if you're going to disinfect properly, and two, it's the safety of the equipment, the return on your investment, the cost of ownership. The manufacturer says you need to do this, right? So everyone should be doing a preventative maintenance, at the onset, 3 or 4 months after you get your equipment. Don't let your warranty cover all that stuff. You're going to end up with stuff that's just overused, it's damaged, your warranty's out, and now you've got a problem, right? So on the disinfectant and the protectant side, this was a challenge for us. I'll just be very blunt and clear. We thought it was just going to be as easy as coming out there with electrostatic sprayers, spray this stuff, and we'd be good. Insurance was going to cover it. We knew what we did. We had parent companies, Paul Davis plant companies that, restoration and janitorial companies teaching us how to do all this. Not the case. Insurance did not want to cover this. We had to go out and get a communicable disease coverage to spray this. So if you have people spraying your fitness equipment, not only make sure they're using the right stuff, okay, and you can't use alcohol, bleach, chlorine, some of these things that Dan mentioned, but make sure that they're covered to do it. And you don't have an instance where maybe somebody did pick up COVID, they were supposed to be cleaning it properly, and they don't have insurance that covers this. So we are insured. In order for us to get insured, we had to go get a crime scene certification from IICRC. So we are certified by the IRCRC in crime scene, which is way more than what we need to clean and disinfect the fitness equipment. But that was a requirement. The last piece that we had to do to satisfy insurance underwriting was have a commercial industrial hygienist come in and approve our SOPs and our training program to actually provide this service. So in short form, we are in no way just coming out and spraying chemicals. We have researched what exactly to use so it doesn't harm your equipment. We have invested money to cover ourselves and our clients and the users through general liability coverage. And we've invested time in certifications and approvals to make sure, hey, are we really doing this right? So I think that that is a major differentiator. And when you package that together with the preventative maintenance that we've always done, and Dan, you've been in this industry for a very long time in the Chicago market, and we have, you know, exceptional employees and talent and technicians in your region. I wouldn't say it's 99%. Like, we're the only ones doing this, and we're doing it right. And when you start with an assessment and you start to package these things together, peace of mind, confidence, mitigating and, you know, your risk. This is how you want to do it. Don't go at it alone. We're here to help. And I'll throw it back to you, Dan.
All right.
Just to sum it up here, and then we can go into some Q&A.
Okay. So basically, you know, what we're offering is assessment. So give us a call, let us come out. We basically, takes us about an hour. We walk through your facility. We'll take it all back. We put it back into a nice bundle and a package, give it to you. It's something that you can have on hand. You can present it to the board. You can show residents what you're doing. Then we can make the adjustments from there. Like I said, it's a bundle. It's not just one thing. It's not a la carte. You can't pick this, you can't pick that. You really need to look through the whole bundle and make sure you're doing everything that you can do on your side, and let us do what we need to do on our side to have your facility as safe as possible. And that does come with, you know, the bipolar atmos air. I mean, you have to do something to treat the air. So you don't have to do your whole building. I think it's, Dan, is it 80 cents, a buck a square foot approximately? I mean, just to give somebody a ballpark. So
Yeah, I think a buck a square foot is a good number, just so that you can have a sense of what you're looking
I mean, if you got, you know, a 3,000 to 5,000 square foot facility, I mean, it's less than a price of a treadmill, and you're mitigating that risk, and you're giving your you know, your residents the room that they need to have to feel safe to go work out. So
Awesome. All right, so I'll just leave this screen up and we'll go into some Q&A. I do have some questions, and if anyone of our participants wants to just drop into Q&A, any questions, we'll read them live. Dan, I think the Q&A section really is an opportunity for us to dive a little bit deeper into some of these things, but we've seen a lot of people that have UV, maybe are looking at UV. In New York City, one of the requirements was, you know, a filtration type application had to be present and a part of, you know, the inspection for people to open up. I think we're really attacking things differently with Atmos Air, and I just kind of would like if you can briefly explain, you know, what is the difference between UV and filtration type approach versus how Atmos Air is attacking you know, disinfection in these spaces in COVID-19.
Sure. Of course, you know, those are great as far as they go. But the problem is they don't go into the space. They don't actively work to disinfect any surfaces, for sure. And secondarily, you have to get the microbe, you know, you have to get the pathogen back through the return and past the UV light. And then it's kind of like if it's kind of like running your hand through a flame, you know, on a candle. If you go through too quick, it doesn't do much. So it's just not as effective. You know, it's not completely effective. Whereas, you know, we've got the testing showing that we're over 99% effective in the air and on the surfaces, and it's continuous. So I think that's the key ingredient. Is it's attacking the virus, the mold, which of course isn't going to make it back through there. It's or any particulates. It's attacking all of them in the space continuously.
Yeah,
that's the key.
And I think, you know, there's another question here too, but I'll kind of answer this. You know, prior to COVID, you know, there's a tremendous amount of energy that can be saved. You know, in larger installations where you're not having to recycle outdoor air into the building, and then additionally either heating it up or cooling it from the outside temperature, if you can circulate cleaner air within the building. So Outside of all the COVID concerns that we have, the Atmos Air actually brings in, a CapEx and an operating expense savings by bringing these types of systems in. So thank you for answering that on the UV and the filtration. But I love how when you present this, you kind of, Atmos Air is seeking and destroying, and the filtration stuff is kind of like catch and grab. And like if you can't get it to the filter or the UV lights, right, you're not doing anything with the air we're breathing in the space or what's on the surface, right? And that's where Atmos Air is that's a definitive difference, right? We're attacking it in the space that you're in, not waiting for it to get to a filter. Dan Green, you touched on the types of chemicals, and I can either elaborate on this, but I think there's some additional explanation on, we're using an EPA approved disinfectant. It's a hospital grade disinfectant. That's the step 2 in our 3-step process of PM, disinfect, and protect. And then with the protectant, again, this could be a whole nother science project and webinar, but the science behind antimicrobial protection, again, it's not new, right? It's in the food industry, it's in the fabric industry. We haven't made some of the leaps in the claims that we have with Atmos Air, specifically attacking a corona type virus, but there's testing and modeling of similar type corona type viruses where we've had efficacy. And what an antimicrobial protectant does is it attaches to the surface and through a molecular structure, and they call it spikes. As things kind of land on a surface, it has a way of disintegrating it, neutralizing it, right? And doing away with that type of pathogen. And again, we're attacking viruses, bacteria, germs, fungus, all these things. If you look into, I'll call them chicken farms, right? You've got the food industry, you've got bird flu type stuff, you have fabric, you have things that machinery and equipment has to be protected based on the things that it's touching that we may consume, right? We may eat, we may wear. These types of things have to have a protectant on it or things grow, right? They call it bio buildup. So the antimicrobial is what we're bringing in to apply on the fitness equipment surface, right? To protect the bio buildup and these pathogens from growing and us transferring or ingesting, and we're getting sick. So outside of COVID, I mentioned kind of MRSA and staph and all these other things. These are huge problems in fitness and athletic facilities and in upholstery and padding. So if we can bring something in, which I said, hey, I think this is the new norm. We should have been doing this all along. This is a huge benefit. So packaging it in with your PMs is it's not just good, it's better than great. This is what's going to make it exceptional, and we've got to raise the bar.
How long does that protection last, Jeff?
So it doesn't just rub off. The EPA approval that comes with the antimicrobial, and I'm not saying EPA approved to kill COVID, right? It's an EPA approved product. The EPA approval and testing says it lasts 90 days. It lasts longer than that on some surfaces, but that's where the rating is. You could take this and spray it on your deck, your concrete, your showers. It will stop things from growing.
Yeah.
You've seen monuments, like marble monuments, and eventually, they kind of get black and they got to power wash them. You could put this stuff on your deck and things around your house. I've done it personally. Stuff doesn't, the little pink mold and all the stuff that grows around, it really does work. It really does work in places where you can see it like that. So Dan, we are probably got about 15 minutes left. We can keep going with some Q&A, or if you guys want to, add in anything else that you think is pertinent, really back to how are we going to activate Chicago. We've got some specific things that are kind of shutting us down, reopening us, preparing, planning, getting organized. Any final kind of comments with what we've covered here today?
One thing I would point out again, you touched on it. We know that the the antimicrobial we're using is effective, but it's also very safe. Jeff touched on it is used in the food industry. It is also used in hospitals. It's used to treat hospital beds. So that's a pretty proven product. It's just not something that we had engaged with before. And as Jeff said, maybe we all should have been, because, I've seen people, try to change the speed and elevation on treadmill using their keys, things like that. Wouldn't it be wonderful if they didn't feel they needed to do that? And I guess the other big point that I would make is, as I pointed out, Atmos Air is trying to demonstrate efficacy by bringing in the possibility of putting a monitor right on the wall. We can do the same thing for you, in a sense, by putting up a sticker, a placard, whatever you want to call it, that your space, once it has been disinfected, you can post that to let your tenants know that this work has been done. Of course, how will they know that you've made this extra investment and done the right things for them? So, and I think, maybe we might want to touch on follow-up if they did have an incident, Jeff. I don't know. Did you want to explore that with them?
Good point. Hey, I'll take that one, Dan. Hey, but good point on the one of the things that we've been. That's a good point, because a lot of the stuff we do, we're in and we're out, and you can't see it. So I've tried to help facilities to put the programming up, put the signage up, make sure blow the whistle. Listen, we've done all this for you to reverse the risk. I mean, your risk of coming in here, we've done everything we could do to do this. And then you had one other point, Dan. You just said it, and I forgot it already.
That signage, I think, is just critical, so that the tenants, this is value added, but it's not added if nobody knows. So, and one thing that Steve Levine at Atmos Air talks about is trying to make the invisible visible, and that's what we're talking about here, and how we help you communicate what you've done to your tenants.
I know what you said. You mentioned, I don't know what, I think I've called it code red. So anytime when you bundle the package, and if you have a COVID incident happen in between when we're not there, and you have a quarterly preventive maintenance, and you're doing the DMP with us, if you have an incident come up, we call it code red. Within 24 to 48 hours, close your facility down. Within 24 to 48 hours, we'll come back out and retreat it for free. So that's part of our package that we're doing. So if you have an incident, document it, close it down, give us a call. We'll come out and retreat your facility for no charge.
Point out that incident probably isn't going to originate in your fitness center, because we brought that up with these treatments to almost hospital grade. But if somebody comes in and then they do the contact tracing, and now, what do? Well, we handle the gym for you.
Yeah, that's a part of the plan. So,
yep.
We want to give you a plan. We want to mitigate the risk. If you have an incident, we're there. Call us, shut it down. And then after we leave in an hour and everything's dried and you're protected again, open it back up, right? But your end users and your tenants, your residents, everybody knows that you handled it professionally, not,
yes,
oh my God, what do I do now, right? We want to put that plan in place. I'll do a product spot too. I haven't done this on any webinar, but I have it here on my desk. The same type of antimicrobial protectant comes in a hand sanitizer, and we have it on our e-store. So it doesn't last 90 days on your hands, but it is used in hospitals, and it lasts longer than a normal hand sanitizer. And if you understand disinfecting and sanitizing, like they're two different things. But disinfecting and some of this stuff is, once it's dried and you disinfect, guess what? You're open ground for, contamination again. So having something that's, on the equipment surface or on your hands, a little bit better sanitizer. We've got these kind of tools for you. So check us out on our e-store.
Cool.
That's all I've got. Dan and Dan, I greatly appreciate your time today. And if you need some help with an assessment, bundling, preventative maintenance, disinfect and protect, you're interested in what Atmos can do for you, please reach out to Dan Green here at dan.green@heartlinefitness.com, or his personal cell phone is here. You could call him noon or night anytime.
Of course.
Maybe not. And we'd love to see if we can help you out. So again, thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you in 2 more weeks. Next week will be our final webinar. We're going to shut down a little bit. We've got Thanksgiving coming up, right? Black Friday, New Year's resolutions, all kinds of stuff. So we're going to shut down for just a little bit as we get close to Thanksgiving, and then we will ramp back up again. So thank you again, everyone, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Dan. Take care.